Good morning. Welcome back to my channel, Teaching Learning English. As you know, in this channel, we have been talking about English language learning, IELTS practice, business communication, and other academic and professional skills. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about why the non-native speakers of English they can't, or it is very difficult for them to develop the accent like native speaker. So there are many reasons behind it, and if we notice all these reasons, obviously we can handle those problems, or let's say we apply some tricks and strategies through which we can make our English language also similar to the British and American people. First of all, when we say our language is not like British or American, then what we are saying, which area of language we are referring to. Obviously, if we say that our English is very different with the British and American English, we are not referring to the writing or reading skills. Mainly, we are referring to the speaking skills. When we speak or when we use English language in speaking form, at that time our accent, the way we speak English is obviously different with the way native English speakers they use. British and American people, they have also some sort of differences in between them. British English is somehow a little bit different with the American English, but they share many more similarities, so that there is no problem in understanding them. But when we talk about the Chinese English, Nepali English, or Indian English, it is a little bit more, far, or let's say farther than the in comparison to the British or American English. The difference. So the gap between Nepali, gap between Indian English and American English is very much in comparison to the gap between Australian and American English. So the gap in case of pronunciations actually plays a big role in developing and learning your English language. So let's see some of the reason, or let's see some of the areas because of which our English is not like natural English. Natural means it's not like that much to the native speaker. Please be careful. I'm not encouraging you to be like British or American. I just want to encourage you to make you nearby to the British and American English. So that is the main area of the concentration. So these are very important things. And let's put those things why you can't or you feel difficult in speaking English like the native speakers. So let's enlist them, and in number one by one, let's go to the one by one. Number one, the fluency matter. When we speak English, even though we think that we are speaking natural or we are speaking in a very fluent way, but it is very difficult for many learners. I am not telling that it is impossible. It is possible, but it is difficult for many learners to adopt the fluency or fluency level of the native English speakers. That is a very important thing we need to understand. So to be like native speakers, we should practice for the fluency. Or fluency means you should speak automatically. When you speak English, it should look like you are speaking very naturally. That is number one. But here you need to understand, fluency does not mean that you speak faster than it is required. You speak somehow more quickly so that people will not understand it. It is not the case of fluency. Fluency means speak in a natural speed. So normally when non-native speakers, they are learning English speaking at that time, fluency also plays very vital role, because it is a little bit difficult for us to be fluent like the British and American people. Number one, challenge and problem, or let's say issue for the non-native speakers, why they can speak like British and Americans. That is fluency. Let's move to the number two. Number two is, appropriateness. So when we use language at that time, we speak the sentence or we take part in the conversation, but we feel difficulty or we put extra effort to maintain the context, which sentence and what chunk of language goes for the particular situation or context. That also plays very vital role. That is called appropriateness. And number 3 and more important is the pronunciation. The more than the pronunciation, what we can say that the accent, it is very difficult. I'm not discouraging you by saying difficult, okay, but you should be very careful or conscious, or you should put extra effort and energy to learn and to practice the stress and intonation pattern. In many languages like Hindi and Nepali, the words are the language is called Slavic language. So each and every syllables and words, they are pronounced with the equal energy. But in English, some words are pronounced with stressed and some other words are not stressed, they are unstressed. For example, let me give you one beautiful examples over here how English language take the stress pattern. Some words are pronounced with stress. Stress means you put extra energy, you speak the sound, the word louder, longer, in high pitch. Okay, these are the qualities of stress word. So let me give you one example. Example is something what you need to understand is, my father is a doctor and my mother is a nurse. So here in this sentence there are 4 words which are stressed. For example, my father is a doctor, and my mother is a nurse. So here father doctor and mother nurse, these words are stressed in natural English speaking. Many user of non-native speakers of English, they can't maintain this stress pattern. So what happens, they violate the fluency, more importantly they violate the rhythmic musical feature of language, and their speaking or their use of English language becomes not that much interesting or melodious or musical. So that is another pattern. You have to maintain stress and unstressed pattern of English language. Another important thing is English language is also based on the intonation. There are major 3 types of intonation, even though there are 4, but more importantly you can practice for the 3 types of intonation. They are rising, falling, fall, rise. Okay, so those things are also very important. I will discuss in detail those things, stress, unstressed, intonation pattern of English language in next video. Here I have just mentioned that why your pronunciation is very much different with the pronunciation with the English of native speakers. So that is another reasons. That means the accent, or let's say that actually takes the stress pattern and intonation pattern. And another important thing is the pronunciation of particular sounds. There are some particular sounds which are different with the other languages. For example, let me give example from Nepali or Hindi language. So we have pa sound, pa, and we have ba sound. But when we pronounce the words, for example, past, pour, pipe, fix, fish, fan, so that way we pronounce them bilevel. It means 2 lips together. But it is not the correct way of pronunciations. If you really want to pronounce the correct English fa sound, then you have to pronounce like this: fan, fix, 4, 5. Okay, that way we pronounce. And in case of va also, very, van, variety, okay, convert. Okay, so these are some words that have the typical sound pattern, or let's say we can pronounce them in a different way. So that is another area where we have to focus and we have to practice if you really want to make your English like native speakers. And okay, in this way you can make your English like native speaker. For example, you put your effort and energy to maintain the fluency, appropriateness, and the pronunciations, stress and intonation pattern, and then the other things are the pronunciation of particular sounds. They are typically different with the other language. They are pronounced in a different way. So that way you can make your pronunciation better. And there are always chunks in English language. Some group of words, they are pronounced with the fluency, and you take some pause, and then you again pronounce the things, the remaining things in a sentence. For example, I live in Newark. I live in Newark. I live in Newark. So I live in goes together, and Newark is the another chunk. So that way also, based on those chunks, we can maintain our pronunciation. So in this way, we can do a lot. We can improve more than our expectations. So that way we focus. Okay, so today in this video I simply discuss the areas which are very important to consider if you are thinking or you have a dream to develop your English pronunciation like the native speakers. And this much. And if you have any questions or comments, please put on the comment box, and we can go together to the platform of English language. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Thank you.